Have you ever wondered what happens in a woman's mind when she realizes you've truly stopped caring? Here's the truth. The moment she senses your indifference, something shifts inside her. Panic, doubt, and even regret start creeping in. Suddenly, the power dynamic changes, and she's the one left questioning everything. Why isn't he chasing? Did she misjudge his worth? Is she losing something she once took for granted in this video? We're diving deep into the emotional roller coaster she experienced or is when she feels your absence. We'll break down each stage of her reaction and, more importantly, how you can use this knowledge to regain control and elevate your own value. This is not just about getting her back. It's about stepping into your power and becoming a man she can't ignore. Stay tuned because what you're about to learn could change everything. And hey, if you find this insight valuable, don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe. Your support keeps this channel growing and bringing you the content you need now. Let's get started. The first rule. Understand her one. The first rule. Understand her intentions when she reaches out after silence. Intentions when she reaches out after silence. Your initial reaction might be excitement or confusion. But before you act, you need to pause and ask yourself a critical question. Why is she reaching out? Understanding her intentions is the foundation for deciding whether or not to engage. Without this clarity, it's all too easy to fall into a reactive cycle that doesn't serve your best interests. Women don't reach out randomly. Every message, every "Hey, how are you?" comes with an underlying intention. It could be curiosity. Maybe she's wondering what you're up to because your silence has left a void. Or it could be regret. Perhaps she realizes she might have let someone of value slip away on the flip side. Her message could simply be a way to test your attention, to see if she still has influence over you, to figure out her intentions. You need to assess the context of your history. Has she been genuine and respectful in the past? Or has she shown patterns of manipulation or inconsistency? A woman who truly values you will reach out with thoughtfulness and effort, while someone who only craves attention may send vague or half-hearted messages. Here's the key. Don't assume every message is an invitation to pick up where things left off. Sometimes her intentions might be genuine, but other times she may simply be trying to soothe her own ego by taking the time to evaluate the situation. You position yourself as someone who doesn't jump at every opportunity for attention, but instead values intentionality and respect when you approach her. Outreach with clarity, you maintain control of the dynamic. You're no longer reacting. You're responding thoughtfully, which immediately sets the tone for any future interactions. 2. Don't respond to. 2. Don't respond emotionally. Emotionally, one of the biggest traps men fall into when a woman reaches out is responding emotionally. It's completely natural to feel a rush of emotions, whether it's hope, frustration, or even excitement when she breaks the silence. But here's the reality. If you let your emotions dictate your response, you're giving away your power. Let's say she sends a casual message like, "Hey, how have you been?" Your instinct might be to reply immediately, that pouring out all the thoughts and feelings you've been holding on to. But think about what that conveys. It shows her that you've been waiting for this moment, that her message holds immense power over your emotions. Even if that's true, you should never make it obvious. Emotional control is the cornerstone of confidence. Instead of reacting impulsively, take a step back and reflect on why her message triggered such strong feelings. Is it because you miss her and want her back? Or is it because her message validates something you were feeling insecure about? Understanding your emotions helps you respond from a place of strength rather than vulnerability. Here's a practical tip. When she reaches out, don't reply immediately. Give yourself time to process if her message feels vague or superficial. Consider whether it even deserves a response, if it's thoughtful and genuine. Take your time crafting a reply that aligns with your values and confidence. The key is to show that her message doesn't define your mood or behavior. Whether you respond or not, the decision should come from a place of self-respect and control. When she sees that you're not easily swayed by her attention, it shifts the dynamic in your favor. 3. The psychology of 3. 3. The psychology of silence. Silence is often misunderstood as a passive move, but in reality, it's one of the most powerful psychological tools you can use when a woman reaches out after a period of no contact. Your silence can send a stronger message than any words ever could. But here's the catch. It has to be intentional, not reactive. Why is silence so effective? Because it creates space. In that space, emotions intensify. Curiosity grows and reflection happens when you don't respond right away. Or at all, she's left to fill the void with her own thoughts. She wonders why you're not reacting, what's going on in your life, and whether she still has a place in it. This uncertainty is what drives her curiosity and ultimately her emotional response. But silence isn't about playing games or trying to manipulate her feelings. It's about prioritizing yourself and showing her that your life doesn't revolve around her messages. When you stay silent, you're demonstrating emotional independence and strength qualities that are far more attractive than neediness or desperation. The effectiveness of silence also depends on what you do during that time. If you're sitting around waiting for her to notice, your energy won't shift. But if you're actively working on yourself, pursuing your goals, building confidence and enjoying life, your silence becomes a reflection of your growth. And when she senses that you're thriving without her, it leaves a lasting impression. Here's an important note. Silence doesn't mean you'll never respond. It means you're taking the time to decide whether her message aligns with your values and goals. If it does, you can engage from a position of strength. If it doesn't, your silence speaks volumes. 4. When it's worth 4. 4. When it's worth responding. Responding while silence is a powerful tool. There are moments when responding is the right move. If her message is thoughtful, sincere, and shows genuine effort, it might be worth engaging. But the way you respond is just as important as the decision to respond itself. The first rule of engagement is to keep your response calm and composed. Avoid long emotional replies that could come across as desperate or overly invested. Instead, focus on maintaining a tone that's confident and centered. For example, if she sends a message like, "Hey, I've been thinking about you," a simple reply such as, "Good to hear from you. What's on your mind?" can set the right tone, but don't stop at the surface level. Observe her actions after you respond. Is she making an effort to have a meaningful conversation? Or does it feel like she's just fishing for attention? Genuine intentions are reflected in consistent effort, not just a one-off message. When you respond, remember that you're not trying to win her back or prove anything. Your goal is to maintain your dignity and self-respect while gauging whether she's truly interested in reconnecting. If her intentions seem shallow or self-serving, it's perfectly okay to disengage. Here's the bottom line: responding is a choice, not an obligation. When you choose to engage, do it with purpose and clarity, and if you decide it's not worth your time, your silence will speak for 5. 5. Setting boundaries and protecting your energy. Itself. 5. Setting boundaries and protecting your energy regardless of whether you respond or not. Setting boundaries is essential. Boundaries are a form of self-respect, and they ensure that your energy is protected. Without them, it's easy to fall back into old patterns that don't serve you. When you set boundaries, you're not being cold or dismissive. You're establishing the terms under which you're willing to engage. For example, if her message feels vague or half-hearted, don't feel pressured to reply with enthusiasm. If she reaches out with genuine effort, you can still maintain your boundaries by controlling the pace and tone of the conversation. Boundaries also help you avoid getting sucked into emotional games. If she's reaching out to test your attention or validate her own ego, your boundaries make it clear that you're not playing along. This not only protects your energy, but also communicates strength and self-respect. Here's a practical example. If she texts you late at night or sends a message that feels emotionally charged, take your time before responding, or choose not to respond at all by prioritizing your own well-being. You're showing her that your time and energy are valuable. Boundaries are about maintaining balance. They ensure that any engagement is on your terms and that you're not compromising your self-worth for the sake of attention. 6. 6. The power of making her wait. 6. The power of making her wait when she reaches out. There's no rule that says you need to respond immediately or even that same day. One of the most underrated strategies is the power of making her wait. It's not about playing games or being manipulative. It's about giving yourself time to process and ensuring that your response comes from a place of clarity and strength. Here's the thing: people value what isn't easily accessible. If you jump at the chance to respond within seconds, it sends the message that you've been waiting for her, and that her outreach has total control over your actions. However, if you take your time, it signals that you have your own priorities, your own life, and that you're not dictated by someone else's timetable. Making her wait also builds curiosity. The longer she waits for your response, the more she starts to wonder what's taking so long. Is he busy? Has he moved on? This mental loop keeps you in her mind, often more than a quick reply ever could. But this approach isn't about withholding for the sake of it. Use this time productively, reflect on her intentions and what you genuinely want from the interaction. Maybe her message deserves a thoughtful response, or maybe it doesn't. Either way, making her wait gives you the space to decide what's best for you. When you do respond, your timing will reflect confidence, not hesitation. It shows that you're someone with a life full of priorities. And while her message is important, it doesn't control your actions. That sense of self-respect is something she'll notice. And respect 7, how to gauge her 7. 7, how to gauge her effort. Effort. Not all messages are created equal. Sometimes when a woman reaches out, it's clear that she's putting in genuine effort to reconnect. Other times her message might feel shallow or like she's just testing the waters. The ability to gauge her effort is a critical skill in deciding whether or not to engage. Pay close attention to the content and tone of her message. Is it vague, like, hey, or how are you? Or is it thoughtful and specific, like, I've been thinking about us and I wanted to reach out? The former might indicate minimal effort or even a casual attempt to test your availability, while the latter shows a level of vulnerability and sincerity. Another factor to consider is consistency. If she sends one message and disappears again, that's a red flag. Genuine effort is reflected in consistent communication. If she's reaching out with the intent to rebuild trust or reconnect, her actions will match her words. Here's a practical tip. If her message feels vague or non-committal, you don't owe her an immediate or detailed response. Instead, you can reply with something neutral and see how she follows up. For example, hey, good to hear from you. What's on your mind? This puts the ball in her court and allows you to gauge whether she's serious about the conversation by focusing on her effort. You're not only protecting your energy, but also setting a standard for how you expect to be treated. You're showing that you value genuine connections over superficial interactions, which is a reflection of your 8. 8, the importance of staying grounded. Self-respect. 8, the importance of staying grounded. When she reaches out, it's easy to let emotions take over. You might feel a rush of excitement, a flood of memories, or even a sense of validation. But here's the reality. Staying grounded is essential if you want to maintain control over the situation. Staying grounded means not letting her message dictate your emotions or actions. Whether she reaches out with sincerity, curiosity, or even manipulation, your response or lack thereof should come from a place of calm and confidence. One way to stay grounded is to focus on your own growth and priorities. When you're deeply invested in your personal goals, her outreach doesn't feel like the center of your world. You're able to approach the situation with perspective, seeing it as one aspect of your life rather than the defining factor. Another key to staying grounded is avoiding overanalysis. It's tempting to dissect every word of her message, trying to figure out her intentions. But overthinking often leads to unnecessary stress and self-doubt. Instead, take her message at face value and respond, or don't respond, in a way that aligns with your values. Groundedness also means maintaining emotional independence. Her reaching out might feel like an opportunity to rekindle something, but it's important to remember that your happiness doesn't depend on her, whether or not the interaction leads to something meaningful. You're still in control of your own well-being. When you stay grounded, you're not only protecting yourself from emotional volatility, but also projecting an aura of confidence and stability. And those traits are far more attractive than any impulsive reaction could ever. 9. 9. Why reclaiming control is key. B9, why reclaiming and control is key. When she reaches out, the dynamic of your relationship is at a crossroads. How you handle this moment determines whether you reclaim control or fall back into old patterns. Reclaiming control isn't about dominating the situation, it's about setting the tone for how you want to be treated. Moving forward, control starts with self-awareness. Recognize your worth and the value you bring to any relationship. If her message feels like an attempt to test your boundaries or manipulate your emotions, You have every right to disengage. On the other hand, if her intentions seem genuine, you can engage from a position of strength rather than neediness. One of the most powerful ways to reclaim control is through your actions instead of focusing on her message. Focus on what you're doing in your own life. Are you pursuing your goals, building your confidence, strengthening your relationships with others? The more you invest in yourself, the less her. Outreach feels like the center of your universe. Reclaiming control also means setting boundaries. If she's used to you responding immediately or bending over backward to accommodate her now, is the time to change that pattern. Respond on your terms, and don't be afraid to assert your needs and expectations. Here's the bottom line. Control isn't about manipulating the situation. It's about owning your power when you approach her outreach with confidence, clarity, and self-respect. You're reclaiming the dynamic and setting the foundation for healthier 10. 10. The bigger picture, your growth matters most. Interactions 10. The bigger picture, your growth matters most at the end of the day. Her reaching out isn't the most important part of this story. You are the decisions you make. In this moment should always reflect your growth. Your values and your vision for the future. Moving on and focusing on yourself isn't just a strategy. It's a way of life. When you prioritize your own happiness and well-being, everything else falls into place. Her outreach might feel significant in the moment, but in the grand scheme of things, it's just one small chapter in your journey. Your growth isn't about proving anything to her. It's about proving to yourself that you're capable of thriving, regardless of the circumstances. Whether or not you choose to engage with her message, the most powerful statement you can make is to continue building a life that fulfills you. Here's a reminder. You're not the same person you were when the relationship began. You've learned, grown, and evolved, and that growth is what sets you apart. When she sees that you're thriving without her, it sends a message far stronger than any text or conversation ever could. In the end, the best decision is the one that aligns with your values and respects your journey, whether you choose to engage, stay silent, or move on entirely. Your growth will always be your greatest asset, and there you have it now. You know exactly what happens. Outro. When she realizes you've truly stopped caring, the power shifts, the doubts creep in, and suddenly she's the one chasing. But remember, this isn't just about her reaction. It's about you stepping into your full potential, reclaiming your confidence, and becoming a man who commands respect. If this video gave you a new perspective, don't just leave, take action. Hit that like button, because every tap helps bring this message to more people who need to hear it. Subscribe now and turn on the notification bell so you never miss a new drop. Trust me, the best is yet to come, and most importantly, drop a comment below. Have you ever experienced this shift? How did she react? I want to hear your story. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you in the next one. Stay sharp, stay strong, and keep leveling up.